Marshmallow, we're back.
We're back. I'm Marshmallow. I'm sitting here talking with Hitler. Say Heil Hitler.
Heil Hitler.
And we're drunk on a weeknight. Weekend edition. Well, we're here.
We are.
But it is indeed the weekend.
True.
Which means anything is go here on Drunk on a Weeknight Studios. We just don't talk fantasy all the time. We also have other enjoyments.
Yep.
Hitler.
Hashtag spoiler alert.
Hitler, what's your favorite show on television these days?
Give it to us.
Peter Dinklage.
Oh,
Peter Dinklage. Peter Dinklage.
no.
Peter Dinklage.
I'm going to need you to stop that.
Well, why? Don't you like that?
Yeah, no, for the problem with what you just did is that I was going to play a drinking game with every time that you said Peter Dinklage, I was going to take a shot of tequila. You just said it like a lot of times.
Hey, them's the rules. You can't. Drinking games are sacred pacts. You can't take that. You have to now do 14 shots of tequila.
Okay. Shit. All right. Hang on.
My God.
Am I allowed to chase these?
Did you swallow the worm? What the hell?
It just caught me off guard, I guess. I mean,
Game of Thrones season is on. Episode 3 just came out not too long ago, this last weekend.
Well, I mean, it depends on how you're pirating it or if you are.
That's very true, Hitler. Pirates are sailing the high seas these days. But, spoiler alert, if you have not watched the first 3 episodes of Game of Thrones season 6, then what the fuck is wrong with you? Jesus Christ. Get the fuck off your ass. Fucking ask your parents for the HBO Now goddamn password and get with the fucking program. It's the last fucking cultural revelation we have as a society that we can all join in and gang up on and talk about all as one cohesive society that we possible in this day and age with goddamn millennial and goddamn internet and goddamn it, Hitler. How are you enjoying Game of Thrones this season?
You know what? One moment.
Like Hitler?
Okay. Yeah, so it's moving a little slow for me at this point, and I think most show watcher only folks.
My God. It's moving faster than it ever has. What show are you watching?
Well, so you got to keep in mind, though, I know you've read the books, as have I, and the issue for me is that I feel like there's too many storylines that they will probably never get to, but
True.
All the while, in the back of my head, I am thinking about so many other things that should be going on at this point
That's
in time.
true. You've been spoiled a little bit. You've got a lot of that other kind of stuff. They've trimmed the fat. I've agreed with most of their things, but before we get into that topic, Hitler, let's not bury the lead here. But Jon Snow lives. He's returned from the grave.
Yeah.
Just like that other mythical character, Jesus Christ, he once again walks among the living.
So, what book was that in? Because I don't remember that happening in any of the Song of Ice and Fire.
It is the Book Apocalypse. We are now past George R.R. Martin's series and are now on a new timeline of the TV show HBO timeline. It's going to be very interesting to see what becomes the quote-unquote culturally accepted timeline now that the TV show is going to overtake the books, it seems like whatever happens on the TV show is what's going to count, and whatever happens in the books is going to be secondary to the fact that it's going to come out so much later.
I mean, that's where we're at this point in time. It just seems like anything that goes differently in the books is going to be. I mean, I think anyone who's going to read the books or has read the books or will read the books or is reading the books, they're going to rely on solely the books as the true telltale storyline. But really, when it comes down to it, until you see it on screen, it doesn't really fit the bill like you want to. No one, you can't tell me that the Mountain versus the Viper really had that much of an impact on you until you saw it on TV.
What?
I mean, there's just no way.
You and I read two very different books. I absolutely love that scene in the show. When the paragraph breaks and it says, that how he's crushing his head like an egg. Yeah, my penis went back up inside me.
Yeah, no. Truthfully, though,
all 2 inches.
I mean, maybe we're talking about the same scene in reverse, because at that point in time, I was about one book behind that scene, so I did not know that was coming.
Oh, yes.
So there could be a very big difference there, but once you finish all the books, and I think I can speak because, as I'm aware, you have never been behind.
Actually, that is not true. One of my a little side note for everybody, but I was reading the books after I finally watched season 2 or so, and I was reading the books, and literally the very next chapter that I had to read was where we were live in the show. And guess what episode that was?
Red Wedding.
Red Wedding.
Holy
I had read all the way up to that point. It was literally the next chapter, and then I watched the episode and went, oh, shit. So even though I was, quote, unquote, a book reader, I myself had my head on my hands on my head going, what is going on? During the episode.
Okay, so a little flashback in our timeline as friends and co-hosts on Drunk on a Weeknight. I was actually there when you were watching that episode, and that was before my interest in Game of Thrones.
That is true.
At the time, I thought
Game of Thrones godfather.
Mm-hmm. That is 100% factual. I actually thought Game of Thrones was for nerds and losers, which at the time, could you really blame me? Because it was you and the Gremlin watching the show. So, I mean,
don't call me a nerd.
Yeah. So, I mean, when it all comes down to it, I thought, hey, that must not be relevant for me, such a cool guy as Hitler. But I can see how that would be incredibly shocking for you. That was roughly the same thing for me in Mountain versus the Viper.
Yes.
I was just shortly,
I can see that.
Shortly behind that scene as well. But you can't tell me that the visual effects of, I mean, this TV series is so good and so believable that you almost take that as the truth versus the book. But then again, once you start reading the books, you believe that as the truth because that's where all the true storytelling comes from, and you get so much more detail. Now that said, we've gone on a long, far too dramatic tangent here from the original topic. I was saying that it's moving slow. You said that it was moving fast. What are your reasons for that, Marshmallow?
Well, I think we're trimming the fat so much. We're really getting through some of these storylines. I think back in the past, based on some of George R. R. Martin's material and whatnot, we would have gone a little bit slower with some of these plot threads or whatnot. But tell you what, let's take it one step at a time. Let's go in and walk through season 6, episode 3, Oathbreaker, and we can kind of talk about some of the things that are happening. So, let's go ahead and get started. Here we got the show opens by Peter Dinklage, and then it opens up. Jon Snow is alive, naked on a slab. Everyone's shocked that he's still alive. Friends and family are hugging him, telling him, "Oh boy, I always knew you were going to come back," as if they were some goddamn wizards. Show us Jon Snow's penis, you cowards! But nope, we get a little bit of slice of Jon Snow's ass. What did you think?
He's
of the
in great
scene?
shape, though. I mean, am I right?
God, slaying White Walkers must be like good, give you good core strength.
Yeah, I believe so. You must have to use a lot of oblique action, a lot of that lower lumbar back support action. I mean, the Lord Commander has got it going on. You know what? I think I'm going to have to enroll in that Men's Health edition. You know, just see where it is.
I think that pre-workout of boiled pork with a side of dark beer and half of last night's game hen and what is really working good for him.
Yeah. So in the real world, medieval times, either everyone was like stick thin or like a super fat ass, right? There was no Kit Haringtons on in the real world back then, right?
Oh, there's the Kit. I believe there's a Kit Harington in all of us. Well, so Jon Snow comes back, kind of shocked that he's still alive. Gets kind of made fun of for a small dick, which I mean, we've all been there. And then next scene, you got Sam and Gilly on the boat. Sam puking all over the place. Gilly being just cute as a button. Sam kind of breaking his oath to Gilly, saying that we'll never separate, and instead, oh, by the way, I'm dropping you off with my parents. I got to peace out. I got to go get my master's.
I mean, let's be real though. Sam, while she's basically, Gilly's like, hey Sam, you're so funny, you're so smart, you're great, you're awesome. In all reality, she's like, hey, maybe if I get it on with Sam will put in a good word for me with the Lord Commander, and then me and the Lord Commander can hook it up. Maybe my second son, once I'm all tight back up in there, maybe I can have that second son get it on, and we can have some royalty babies up in here.
We got a gold digger up in here.
Truth. Spitting truth
right.
Left and right. That's what I'm good for.
Next scene, and as a book reader, you must have been pretty excited to see the Tower of Joy. You got young old Ned Stark, chiseled jaw and all, riding up.
Shit. Oh my God, I'm not even going to let you finish because I was so excited to see this. I knew exactly what was coming all along. You know what? The battle scene was cool enough.
Darth Maul shit.
I had something else in mind. Ned Stark wasn't in armor at all.
Yeah, he kind of got that boiled leather rocking.
Yeah. So
now that you mention it.
Yeah. So no one was except for the Sword of the Morning or whatever the fuck his face was, and whoever his pal was. Too drunk to remember, but not that it matters. The real truth is, I really had a different picture in my mind because George R.R. Martin, of course, painted that picture for us in probably about 20 different pages of what Ned Stark was wearing because his armor was dual-plated with a silver finish and the Stark wolf head on his right breastplate and who gives a shit? But seriously, though, he painted a completely different picture for me. But as soon as Ned Stark rolled up, I was like, oh shit, are we about to find out everything that went on? And of course we didn't, right?
But still being teased a little bit. R plus L equals J. Am I right?
Wait, what was that?
R plus L equals J, Hitler?
Oh, well, I mean, that's the common theory, right? I almost feel like we should expect that at this point. Like, it should almost not even be a
theory
theory
it's so
anymore.
expected it's now fact.
Exactly. And I mean, kudos goes to the person who originally thought of that. Like, the person who read the first book and was like, you know what, I've got to figure it out. Kudos to you, buddy. Because without me doing all the research on every possible theory, I wouldn't even think that to be truth. I mean, maybe I would by this point, but that theory has been out there for so long that someone's really on the ball. Like someone is a super nerd. Like it could be you, Marshmallow. I'm not sure.
Hey, I'm a loser. I'm not a nerd.
Oh, loser, not a nerd. Okay, so I mean, there's a fine line between the two, but I mean, kudos to that person. But such a cool storyline to find out whether or not that's true or false. But you got, like, in the back of my mind, with everything that's gone on in this series, I almost want to say that he is setting us up to just, like, setting us up for the spike, right? Like, we are so ready to just confirm that this is the truth and fact, and then it just gets shot down out of nowhere. Like we walk in, and for some reason, we find out that is completely not the reason. Like, Bran goes back in time again, revisits that same scene at the end of it. He follows Ned Stark up into the Tower of Joy and finds out that it's completely the opposite of what he thought happened.
It's going to happen.
Like, wait.
It's going to happen. You're full of shit, Hitler, as you always are. Next scene, Khaleesi walking in on some of those Dothraki widow bitches, some fine-ass whores, who are all trying to initiate Khaleesi into their sorority. Going to start hazing her a little bit, strip her bare, talk shit to her, treat her like shit.
Wouldn't you?
She's got a pledge. She's got a pledge.
Let me ask you this, Marshmallow. Would you strip her bare, or would you? Are you the guy who just goes straight to the skin, or are you a guy who likes the slow tease with, you know, a little bit of clothing here and there, and then a gradual loss? You know, maybe the top comes off, and then the bottoms, or you know, what's your type?
Oh no, I would be super nice to her. I would compliment her and always be there for her, and never actually make a move, and then I become her like her best friend, and then she talks to me about all the bad boyfriends she has.
You're Jorah Mormont.
Exactly, Sir Friend Zone himself. Next scene, Varys hanging out in the temple in Marine brings in that prostitute bitch. Kind of plays hardball, good cop and bad cop. Oh, I'm not going to kill you, but, you know, if you want this money, you could have that, or you could die, whatever you want. You know, I'm trying to be your friend.
He's a spy son of a bitch, right?
Always, you know, fanning himself, acting like it's all hot in there and shit, but he's really putting the pressure on her. That's a spy master at work. I
mean, let's really think about it. In the books and also in the show, I believe, they indicate, and I believe they touch on it. You know what? I feel like it's more so in the books, but I always get them mixed up because I've seen and read both. So he was like a young actor, right? He was like a traveling actor, and that's when he got his dick and his balls cut off at some point.
Yes.
So I feel like
he was a traveling mummer.
Yes. So he's good at that shit. So the thing about him is, you know, I start to wonder what kind of games he's playing, but we know what happens right at the end of the most recent book that's come out. We know what he does. We know where he is. He's in King's Landing.
Let's get to that here in a bit, because I think there might be a remix coming. But next scene, you got Tyrion talking with Missandei and Grey Worm. They're chit-chatting a bit. Tyrion's got the real comedy chops going this season, a little bit too much in my opinion. Just talking about how he drinks and knows things and wanting to play some drinking games with these dickless non-drinking folks, which, two things Tyrion loves is drinking and having a dick.
What is that actor's name again?
Peter Dinklage.
That's right. Yeah, Peter Dinklage. Oh, shit.
God damn, Miss Sandy can get it.
That's not even good tequila.
Miss Sandy at this point might be the hottest chick on the show. But next scene.
Wait, who?
Miss Sandy.
Who is that?
Who is Miss Sandy? She's the hottest chick on the show. Even though she's fucking some guy with no dick, apparently. I don't know how that's possible, but I would like to find out how that's possible. Not for me, but for a friend of mine. I got a dick, and it's huge, and it works really good, but a friend of mine would like to know how that's possible.
So you're talking about the girl who in the show is pretty much like Middle Eastern to black, but in real life it's probably like an Oreo race. She's got some white and black.
Exotic.
Exotic. Sorry. So she's exotic. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Is she the hottest on the show?
I want my penis to cry inside her.
So no, Marjorie's still the hottest.
You're wrong. Next scene, Qyburn hanging out there in the Red Keep with a bunch of kids, acting like it's a goddamn Pinocchio scene, giving out candy to the kids to give them some secrets, trying to be the new spy master at King's Landing. Who knows if he's going to be as good as Varys or if he's in over his head. What is your take, Hitler?
So, I mean, we all know what he's up to in the books. Maybe we all don't, but he's pretty sly in the books, and he does some. The books are pretty dark, by the way. So anyone who's just watching the shows, not reading the books, you need to, because you realize what goes into his character, and you also start to realize kind of what goes into Franken Mountain and kind of how dark that whole thing is.
Yes.
But at the same time, you start to realize he's a pretty clever dude, and with that said,
is he too clever? Let me ask you this question, Hitler. Spoiler alert, at the end of the last book, all those little children brutally murder 2 men.
Correct.
Do you think those will be the same men that are murdered in the show, or do you think there will be a remix and they will either murder only one man, and who will that man be?
So I think that they will actually be, they won't be 2 men in particular. I don't know that the show has established those characters enough to murder those characters.
I'm not so sure. I think there will be a remix coming.
I agree.
I think there will be a remix, and it's going to be awesome. And I think it's going to be one of those situations where we're going to see the show taking leaps and bounds over the book, and we're going to really speed along the plot. But, boy, those candied plums, like, fucking, those look like pieces of shit. Like, can I get some fucking Reese's in here? Good God.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? You and I, we would have had a tough time surviving on, like more than room temperature wine and like hot beer. That would have been a rough time for us.
Agreed, Hitler. I like my Miller Lite cool to 34 degrees. I want to be able to taste that there's no taste.
Exactly. You want to be able to drink water and know
sure there's no flavor. Yes.
Exactly.
All right, let's move along a little bit. We got Tommen walking into the Great Steppe to Baelor to talk to the High Sparrow, and once again, Tommen gets kind of verbally kidnapped. He's not up to the par. He likes to try to play a tough game on the king, The High Sparrow totally fucking verbally whoops his ass. What did you think, Hiller?
So I think we start to realize in this episode that Tommen is just while no one's gonna hate Tommen.
He's well intentioned. He's trying to be a good boy. He's trying to be a good son.
Exactly. He's trying to do everything right and proper, and he's trying to be a great king, and he's got the best intentions. The only problem with Tommen is that he's not strong-willed. We had Joffrey. He was a dickhead. We had Robert Baratheon, who was kind of a badass, but then he got to be a badass, and then we kind of lost sight of him. But in all reality, with Tommen, we kind of start to see that he's a little bit weak. And while we felt that way about Joffrey, he was at least a psychopath. And when you're that kind of wild card, I think people respect you to a certain point. I think Tommen's going to lose that kind of respect. And
I think this whole situation with Tommen is the most unrealistic plot point going on in Game of Thrones right now.
As far as book versus show?
Just unrealistic in human nature, because I remember when I was 14 years old, and if there was some old crackety dude that I could easily murder with a snap of my fingers that was keeping me away from Marjorie Tyrell and her perky boobies, I would murder that son of a bitch 10 times over.
Truth.
And go for that goddamn record.
Truth. Yeah, I would have no hesitation. Yeah, no, I mean, as old as I am, I still wouldn't mind some Marjorie Tyrell on my side, so I have no problem with that. But, for him, I think it's pretty evident that he's going to be sort of a good boy. We're trying to play by the rules, kind of a weaker character. And I think, all things said, while he's not a psychopath, I think no one on the show is going to hate him, but I think that's going to make him that more easily a disposable character, just because he's not a strong character.
I think we're going to have another regicide, do ya?
Yeah, well, I mean, the other thing is, too, unless I'm mistaken, there's another Lannister child that is still alive in the books, but has now apparently perished in the show.
Yes.
You want to touch on that at all, Mark?
Well, I don't know if there's too much more remixing to really go on, because more than likely that was kind of a red herring in the books. I think Tommen is going to be long for this world, actually. I don't think they'll kill another king, at least not for quite some time. And if anything, it'll be the last killing stroke to Cersei.
Right.
Next scene, we got ourselves a training montage with Arya getting her daredevil on, mixing poisons, and getting her judo on, and getting her ass kicked. I don't know how Arya is still so pretty. I think she should have like 0 teeth left in her body after getting whacked in the face with a pole 1,000 times. But apparently all those teeth are still there. And looks like she's gone full on faithless man.
Yeah, so let me ask you, what was that the thing your father brought back from Japan or the Middle East, or where the fuck he was?
Sludovic.
Yeah. Yeah, so what was that, the judo stick or some shit like that?
Oh, kendo stick.
The kendo stick, holy shit. I feel like someone has slapped her in the face with the kendo stick like 12 times.
Yeah.
And she's still just fine.
But that was no bamboo slapping her across the jaw.
Well, I mean, hey, you know what? My bamboo slapping her across the jaw would do a lot more damage.
God damn, she's like 14, Hitler. Will you have no shame? First the Jews, now 14-year-old girls.
Hey, you know what? No, she's not. Because guess what? I watched a video of her the other day on YouTube, and she's talking about all this other shit, and I realize what her actual age is. She's perfectly legal, unless I'm mistaken.
She's a woman flowered.
I believe so. So, I mean, if we're talking...
She needs to find a husband.
It's truth. And guess what else? You know what? I am the Aryan ideal, which is why you call me Hitler. I'm not even racist. I'm
strong genes. The seed is strong.
Exactly. So all I'm telling you is that, hey, you know what? If she likes it and I like it, what's the problem?
Next scene, we got Ramsay Bolton hanging out in Winterfell with his new best friend Karstark. They're just best of buddies. And they're talking to the new Small John Umber from House Umber, who looks like the most fucking death metal son of a bitch of all goddamn time. And he's got a little present. Even though he puts up a little bit of a fight and tells Ramsay what of a cunt his dad was. But, don't worry. I'm going to call you cunt to your face, but you know I'm on your side because check this shit out. And hands off Rickon. You remember Rickon there, Hitler?
Yeah, you know what? It's been a few seasons, and I'm going to let you take the role on this because I'm going to have to take another piss because you've said Peter Dinklage enough to where I've drank like half a bottle of tequila. Yeah, well, wait. Oh, Rickon. Yeah, so,
yes.
No, Rickon, yeah, no, that kind of sucks because we haven't heard from Rickon in the books as far as I know lately, so.
Yes, this is, again, another good little remix. It's been kind of theorized that Rickon is hanging out on Skagos instead of hanging out with the Umbers, but instead here he is getting dropped off by the Umbers here in Winterfell. Now, there's zero chance that Rickon has not lost his virginity to Osha because, goddamn, she can get it too. And she seems like she'd be a little wild in the sack, and she would totally take a 13-year-old's virginity, especially when they're out in the middle of the wild. Animals do shit like that. Wildlings, who knows what the kind of freaky shit they're into. But the fact that the Umbers are dropping off Rickon here kind of makes you kind of wonder. A lot of people are theorizing, is this some sort of ruse? Is the Umbers actually still loyal to the Starks? And this is some sort of trick to, like, getting close to Ramsay and whatnot. That wolf's head was not really Rickon's little shaggy dog, but some just other regular wolf. I don't know. It seems like this kind of a risky proposition to drop Rickon off with Ramsay Bolton, not knowing how many fingers he's going to lose, even if you think you were going to just try to kill Ramsay. Because I feel like you could have killed Ramsay if you really wanted to at this point. So I don't know about you, Hitler, but I'm thinking the Umbers have gone full on Turncloak and are fucking traitors to the north. What do you think?
You know what? I'm thinking that it's really tough in finishing the books that we've got so far and not knowing what this part of the storyline tells us. But truth be told, it's going to be one of those things where I've got to believe the show because the show's what told me first. And I'm starting to think that Rickon's in some trouble. But I also feel like he's got a lot of the storyline left to tell.
Yep.
Because otherwise we wouldn't have invested so much in his character. Not that we've done so much with this character that he's indisposable, but why even bring him into the picture in the first place unless he's going to play a big part later on? And I just feel like there's... Go ahead, Michael.
So do you agree that Umbers do you believe that the Umbers and the dropping off of Rickon and saying this is a gift, do you think they're being genuine or do you think this is some sort of ruse?
You know what? I could easily...
I think we want it to be a ruse, but I don't think it is.
Right. I agree. I think it's one of those things where Umber is just kind of a pissed off dude who's wanting to do anything he can to make sure that he and his ends up being in a good spot with the new Warden of the North. It's just one of those things where I have a tough time believing any of that part of the storyline because that's not happened yet in the books. And I, as of right now, I'm taking the books as the full metal, all-purpose truth, and I have a tough time believing anything else. And I feel like I'm going to be that way throughout most of this season. Hopefully the next book comes out soon after. But you know what, Rickon, wish you all the best, bud. But at this point, we've invested a little bit. He's not indisposable. If they killed him off right now, no one would really think twice. We would think, oh, well, there goes another star.
Your talker. Talkers make me thirsty.
Yeah. You know what? That's what I'm good at, because guess what? Too much to drink tonight, and that's why we're drunk on a weeknight.
Final scene. Jon Snow puts on the furs, grabs his sword, and he's going to go drop the mic on these sons of traitorous bitches. Goes up to the first guy. First guy's like, well, you're supposed to be dead, which he's not wrong. Jon Snow's like, fuck you, bro. Next guy, will you write to my mother? And Jon Snow's like, bitch, you're like fucking 60 years old. Your bitch mom is dead. Fuck you, bro. Goes on the next guy, and sure enough, it's Alistair Thorne. And Alistair's like, hey, you beat me. I did what I thought was best. You kicked my ass. You win. And Jon Snow's like, I respect that, bro. Walks on. Ollie look at him with all that fucking hate and just like, you piece of shit. I fucking killed you and I want to kill you again. And Jon Snow's like, I failed you, bro. But you gonna fucking die. Goes over, draws that sword, chops that fucking rope in two, and they fucking hang until they motherfucking dead. Walks off, drops mic, is like, look, I could have fucking quit before now, but I wanted to kill those motherfuckers before I left here. I'm out, bitches. My fucking watch is ended. Hitler.
You know what?
Do you think he should have spared them?
Hell no.
You need every man on the wall you can.
You know what? Those aren't men, those are traitors.
Yes, but even Jesus forgave his traitors.
Well, you know what? It's a good thing that there's a difference between the Bible and the Song of Ice and Fire, because guess which series I've read? Yeah, so no, Jon Snow's totally right here. He needs to hang those mofos and kind of move on. But I think we all know by this time that's a pretty common theory in the series, that because he has been killed and that he has died, then technically his watch has ended. But at the same time,
bit of a technicality. But like, what's he gonna go do now? Is he like gonna go and be emo somewhere? Is he gonna ride south and attack Winterfell, knowing goddamn well there's a bunch of White Walkers on the way? What do you think what do you think his mind is at this point? Do you think he's like, fuck the world, I'm going to do what's best for me at this point, or do you think he's got some bigger plans in mind?
Yeah, no, you know what? Jon Snow is such a central part of this story, and truthfully, for the longest time, and probably even now, Jon Snow is not even necessarily one of my favorite characters. I think for most people, he's the central storyline. Everyone wants to know who his mother is, what his background is, what's going to happen to Jon Snow. I'm not, for whatever reason, I've never been so intrigued with him. I feel like he's a very important part of the story, but because he is maybe the central character, I want to know how he affects these secondary characters. And I want to know the full story behind him, and I'm actually, because of this, I'm actually curious. I hope he plays a role, but you know where I think this is going? I think this is going to where we fight some sort of battle between Ramsay and Jon Snow, the two bastards, quote unquote, and the Wildlands take over the Boltons, and maybe the Starks end up getting the Winterfell back, and then we start to really gain that storyline back. If you remember, and yes, in case you're wondering at home, Hitler's had too much to drink, and when he drinks too much, he can rant, and a lot of people will call that a Hitler rant.
Hitler does do that. He likes to get up on that podium, and he doesn't stop talking for quite some time.
Watch out for that propaganda.
Well,
with that in mind, Marshmallow, let me speak the rest of this.
Oh, please, Hitler, please talk some more. We're all ready to hear.
Yeah, no, I'm sure you are. I really think that this storyline is going to get pretty good this season, and I hope we see some violent battles, and I know we will.
All right, then.
I'll just end it there. I won't keep going.
You're done. You're cut off. You can't drink here anymore, but that doesn't mean you can't stop drinking. So get the fuck out, Hitler. But I cannot wait for the next episode of Game of Thrones. We're only 3 episodes in, 7 more this season. I have no idea. Now, even though I've read the book, I could not even begin to tell you where the season is going to end. It's going to be fucking amazing. Hitler, any last thoughts?
What's the name of this episode? This next episode coming up?
The next episode? I have no idea.
Is it The Door, or it's The Door, or the Stranger's Book?
I will tell you in 3, 2, 1. Book of the Stranger.
Book of the Stranger. So theories on this next episode before we go here, Marshmallow. Ready?
I think Arya, a.k.a. No One, is about to get a no name for her list as assigned by the Faceless Men. I think Arya is going to start going off on a little bit more, going on a field trip with her assassin school.
Okay. Well,
I think some people are about to die.
I mean, there's a good chance, and I really like how they've referenced kind of the names on her list previously as she was Arya Stark. Maybe they'll end up assigning those folks as part of her kill list. I have a different theory, though. The Stranger is one of the 7, correct?
Yes.
I feel like the Stranger is actually the Hound. And I feel like because the Hound is going to be a faith represent.
No.
I think we're going to find out more about this upcoming trial by combat.
No.
For Cersei.
We need Brienne to go all the way from the north down to the south to the Quiet Isle to meet Marwyn. That's going to be quite a few episodes down the line, if at all, my friend.
Right. That's the issue, is that the book and the show are 2 totally different things. Do you really think that they're going to have Brienne and the Hound actually cross paths at all? Because you got to remember, she also crosses paths with someone else very important in the story, and he is nowhere near being in the right spot to cross paths with her at this point in time. And therefore, we haven't even been introduced to a character who's been out of the series for 3 seasons or so. Who she well knows at this point in the books. It's one of those things. There's so many question marks within the show versus the books that I could easily see this next episode going both ways. I would love it if we found out more about the next trial by combat. I'd be totally cool with it if you were right and it was Arya's next assignment.
What did I say about you being cut off, Hitler? Wrap it up.
I kept drinking because I kept talking, and I kept talking because I kept drinking. And
I want another beer so bad. Therefore, we're going to have to end this a little early, folks. But watch episode 4. Let us know how you feel. Tell Hitler what a fucking stupid dumbass he is with his stupid dumbass book theory ideas.
Tequila going on here. The world is spinning around me. I need to go.
Yes, the flat Earth, as we all know. Well, I think Hitler. I don't want to speak for you, but go fuck yourself.